and thank you for coming back to the Emagia AI for Finance podcast. I'm your host, Brian Shappell, the Director of Content Strategy here at Emagia. And today we have a very special guest. Thea Dudley is here to talk with us about, what's going on in AI today. We'll talk a little bit about what's actually useful and realistic, what's actually hype, and the problems therein. We'll explore all that and more. Thea has spent decades in the credit collections world. I know you have a lot of experience right now dealing with the people in construction materials, contractors, all that sort of stuff. So we're talking about, somewhat low margin or thin margin kind of industries where efficiency is really, really important. And things like just going out and hiring a bunch more people to get things done is not always the first option, or even the second or third option. So, things like innovations are very important to these companies. But Thea has a lot of experience in that, and blending with a lot of the traditional ways that got people through times with tried and true processes and whatnot. So we want to talk about all that. You are with the Credit Overlord as well, so if you could talk a little bit about that, that'd be great. I'm sure the people want to hear from you first. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how it, sort of dovetails from, the traditional credit and collections sort of approaches into this, sort of new Wild West world of, AI and agentic AI and autonomous finance.
Well, I started out with my dad, who was a subcontractor, and I'm not a physical labor girl, so that's not going to happen. I'm like, oh, I got to get inside. So I started working with different construction companies, dealers, suppliers, and spent years working with some of your major manufacturers, distributors, led credit teams with 30, 40 people on them, which may not be big to some people, but it was big for the US footprint that we were in with the national or super regional lumber and building material folks, and then working with contractors who are probably the most underserved group, and they get overlooked because everybody thinks, oh, there's no money there. Trust me, there's plenty of money in there. You just have to try to figure out which ones have it and which ones don't, because that's always a little bit of an interesting play. But I went into working with the back office, oh gosh, probably when I was still with some of the distributors, helping our contractors learn how to really run that back office and really streamline it so that I could get paid faster. And then about probably 6 or 7 years ago, moved it into a little bit different vein. Published 3 books, have a podcast, and do speaking all over the country.
Okay. One of those books is the Credit Overlord. I think that's the one a lot of our listeners might be familiar with. So, congratulations on getting all those out to market. So, you've obviously seen a lot of talk about things as they've come by, innovations over the years, whatnot. AI is the innovation now. Autonomous finance is the innovation now getting talked about a lot. One of the things I wonder is a lot of the problem right now that there's too much talk about just buzzwords, hype, and not enough talk about practicality. And here's how you actually use it. Here's how it can help AR. Here's how it can lower DSO. Here's how it can make you more efficient. What's your take on where that ratio is right now?
Well, I think everybody gets so excited about what they can do that it's like everybody wants to run out and go, we're getting the latest and greatest. And it's like, okay, maybe you should take a step back and ask, what do you actually need? And what are you trying to achieve? And those are 2 of the biggest questions. And if I have to hear one more person go, look at this picture I made in Chat GPT, it's like, that's what you got out of all this AI was you can make a picture where it's like, make this person look like this. I swear to God, I hope you're not on my team, because that's annoying. I get that there's like little fun things you can do, like turn yourself into a cartoon or whatever. But what are when you talk about it, can we get past just saying the letters AI? Talk to me about how we're going to implement this in practicality, how we can utilize it to save hours and teach people how to gravitate to it past that initial. And one of the biggest challenges that I see, especially with like a lot of the contractors I work with, is the fear factor. They're like, I'm just not adopting anything. It's like, well, you can take that stance, but honey, you can't work here because the rest of the world's evolving. You got to keep up. And that's probably the biggest challenge with AI is the misunderstanding of what you can actually do or try to do, what you need, and then how you're going to get your people to use it.
And one of those things is, you might not want to evolve, but your competitors might.
Oh,
And
yeah.
why yield competitive advantage to somebody else?
But it's amazing how many people, Brian, don't think that way. They're like, well, I've worked here for 10 years and this is the way I've done it. And they're not thinking like a business person. They're thinking just like I am a sole contributor employee and I'm protecting my job because I'm not letting any new tech. That's even something as simple as new software come in. It's like we've upgraded something. It's like why? What? Because this stuff is kind of breaking down. It's like just QuickBooks is a great example. I know folks that are on QuickBooks and it's the QuickBooks Classic desktop. And they're like, well, I have enterprise. It's like, yeah, don't brag about that. You really need to move over into something a little bit bigger like the cloud so you can be more flexible and be able to be that fast focused and flexible mentality, not here's where I stuck, because even even they're not supporting it to any degree anymore. So
Right.
it's interesting to watch how different people, you've got your super gravitators that are like anything that comes along they grab like a dog with a bone, whether they should or not, and then you've got your folks that are just like a donkey in a ditch.
Yeah, it's bragging about, using that it kind of feels like if somebody was bragging about using like Excel spreadsheets. Like, we know you know how to do those since,
It's like that's adorable.
since the aughts, but that
Are you
there
using a
there is a
pivot
better
table
way.
too?
But with that, using it to make yourself more efficient, making yourself better at your job, or helping your company get cash in, or have a better view of working capital. You know, these technologies can help with those things. Like I like to say, it's not that AI is going to come along and take your job. It's that somebody knows how to leverage AI and work better than they did before might take your job. With that in mind,
Okay.
what are some things people can be doing in credit, in collections, in, applying cash, in any of that right now? Like, what are some actual use cases and practical uses of this that are helping people that you see?
Well, I think one of the biggest areas that has been really eye opening for some folks that I work with is taking that piece of collections. And you can take, if you've been tracking your KPIs, your year over years, you can take that Excel spreadsheet and you can dump it into like a Claude or Copilot or whatever you're using and have and ask it to do something for you, do an analysis. Now, what everybody says, oh, just dump it in there, but you have to treat it like it's an assistant. So think of it like a human, that here's, if I had an assistant, I still have to tell it what I want my end result to be. I still have to tell it, here's how I want this to look at the end. And no hallucinations, don't drag in any extra stuff. I need you to use, these cells, or these columns, and I want a year over year projection of what are the months that are our slowest collections, what are our best collections, and try to see if I can create some trend lines, what insights can I extrapolate from that. But I have to ask it specific questions and tell it to stop flattering me, because I don't need it to tell me how smart I am. It's like, that's great, Thea, you're so smart. It's like, yeah, just cut that out. I don't need you to tell me I'm pretty and smart. That's what I got married for.
So that's so those are more, generative AI type things. You put in your commands, it gives it back. There's that sort of loop, and that's been very helpful for people. I think there's been a lot more adoption in that of late, and that also kind of goes back to the old computer science adage, garbage in, garbage out. As we were talking, like, talk to it like it's a human. You actually have to give it good instructions and thought out instructions, and really kind of say exactly what you want, as opposed to just dumping something in there and assuming something great's going to come out. Do you think people are kind of grasping that more as they use it, or is that starting to turn the corner? Is success with this kind of setting people up to use AI agents more, so there's more autonomous stuff happening that they don't even have to have touch on once they sort of set the initial parameters?
I think in the space that I work, and you're in that construction and building material space, which the only, and I'm not saying that we're Neanderthals and that we don't evolve, but we tend to be a little bit more conservative. We tend to go a little bit slower, and we will not spend the money on that back office piece of AI or software and tech the way that we will on marketing or sales. So you have a few challenges to go through. So when you choose something and to bring something in, when you start talking about, can we start implementing agents? We're not there yet with a lot of companies. Um, I think there's a lot of opportunity, but there's still a lot of people that, I mean, nothing ticks me off more than when I call, I'm going to pick on American Airlines. I don't need to have, like the little bot come up, or I don't need to have like the little AI agent. Just get me to a human. If I'm calling you, there's a reason. If it's something like I'm popping in my portal and it's something simple that little bot can answer, that's awesome. But normally what you hear are, people are familiar with those clunky older bots and not like the more refined, intuitive, have kind of learned your system and your speech patterns and how you would address something. And those are a little bit more high end, especially for, my guys. We're just not there with a lot of it yet. We're still like, hey, did you see the picture I made with ChatGPT? It's like, yeah, okay, no. And I certainly don't mean to make it sound like, yeah, we're back, knuckle dragging or anything, but it's an evolutionary process. And I think different segments of the world evolve with it differently. The larger your company, it's probably pushed out a lot faster and a lot different than at, some of your small to mid-sized companies where they're like, yeah, that's really cool, but I have to see something substantial. So if you can turn it into something they can see and see the value from, that's when you start getting traction, because they don't want to be bleeding edge. I'm not even sure they want to be cutting edge. They want something that is going to be like a tried and true kind of a thing.
With that evolution being slow, and I've heard the same from a lot of people in like logistics, for example, shipping. Some spheres of retail more than others. That sort of traditional kind of approach is hard to cling away, pry away. What do you think is the tipping point, though? Like, how do you think we get from here to people realizing, oh, you know, generative AI and agentic AI can help me do my job better, or it could save me 10 hours a week on this manual stuff. So now I can think about important stuff and like really drive the needle and make a bigger difference in how the company's going, and maybe get noticed by the boss, or if you are the boss, just notice it in your own returns. Where do you think that tipping point lies?
I think it's how you challenge people. Sometimes if you allow people to just evolve at their own pace, they never quite get there. So especially when it's something they're afraid of because they're afraid it's going to take their job, and they have that fear factor, especially in some of your, I hate to say older generations that are out there, but your more seasoned generations that are out there that have been doing things a certain way. You have to come to the table with, we're going to walk through this together. I'm going to give you an assignment. I want you to use, whatever AI program we're using. This is the task I'm giving you. I want you to come back in a week and let's take a look at what you've managed to do, what your challenges were, what your questions were, and what you accomplished. Sometimes when you set the bar for somebody, it's just getting them to sit down and actually use the product instead of just fearing it, where it's, I already know how to do it. I've done it so long. I've got it down. It can't do it faster than me. It's like, well, maybe it can't do it faster than you. I doubt that, but maybe it can't. It still affords you time to do other things that need the human connection or need you to go in and have that one-on-one with different customers, whether they're internal or external, and not be bogged down by, I'm going to, do a bunch of, I'm going to take a spreadsheet and turn it into something amazing that I've grabbed a whole bunch of information out of that would have taken me 2 days to do. But I think you've got to challenge people to actually get in there and use it, but give them a way to use it. Just don't say, go use it, because they're like, I don't know. Here, I want you to do this. I want you to take this report, or, whatever it is you're using, and have it do a breakdown on it and give it parameters. What would you want to see? And talk to it like you're talking to a colleague.
So a little extra explanation, a little collaboration, some communication, and just reaffirming of what it's doing and not like, oh, hey, train this thing to take your job next month. You know, that goes a long way in essence.
Well, I think, it's a little bit of good kitty, where you're like, look, it's okay. It's going to be fine. It's not here to take your job. It's here to do some of the work that maybe is very time consuming, but it's kind of mundane. You still have to check the work that comes out of it, because if you're just like, boom, this is what we're doing, and then you put it out there and maybe you missed some parameters that you should have put in there, you missed some instruction, you didn't check it. Well, the computer's not necessarily smarter than you. It's like you said, garbage in, garbage out. That's the other challenge I see, is that a lot of people, a lot of companies use CRMs that, let's face it, have junk in it from years back because they just transferred something over, dumped all their garbage in it, and they're like, yeah, we just live with it. If you're going to take information out of that system and try to get AI to come up with some different scenarios or some data that you're looking for, you have to go in and do the work to clean up your garbage. Otherwise, it's not the computer's fault that your report looks like junk. It started with junk. It's just a more organized version.
So within the various back office functions and whatnot, credit collections, deductions, payment portals, cash app, credit management, document processing, um, you know, any of that stuff. Where do you believe that these sort of AI innovations are able to help out right now, in the near term? And of course, all this should be built into your roadmap. All this should have a plan and a goal before you just jump into it. But what's sort of the low-hanging fruit for people right now? And beyond that, once we get past, these phases of awkwardness or learning curves and whatnot, is there a different area that you think can emerge in like 1 or 2 years where it's like this could do really exciting things once people know how to use it better in, collections or Cash App or whatever? So what's your take on those two things now and the future?
Well, I think some of the low hanging fruit is, and you already see a lot of companies out there that are promoting this product, is the whole credit application processing, is taking that, because now you've got all the compliancy issues that are handled by that. You can bring it in, you can program it with the algorithms your company wants to see, and you can change that based on what's the risk reward strategy for this year or even for this 6 months. So you have control over what that looks like. You're able to set baselines for it, because frankly, trade credit is one of those areas that there's been a lot of human emotion stuck to. I don't know. It depends. Well, I didn't like the way he talked to me. It's like, yeah, I don't care. I get it. I'm human. If somebody, chapped me, then I'm going to go ahead and that might color how I make my credit decision if I open them or not. That AI piece takes it out of there, and then it can spit out, here's what I see. And then I can use my years of knowledge and experience and expertise to go, okay, here are the factors I'm feathering in, and make better, cleaner decisions for the company much quicker. And it frees me up from, I don't want to send out trade references. I don't want to, try to contact the bank. I don't want to spend time pulling credit reports. All of that stuff is pulled in for me. It can go by the algorithms that I set, and then it will spit out, here's the analysis. And I haven't had to do anything to touch it. I now get a full file like I had an admin do it. And then I can put my stamp on it. So that's one of the low hanging fruit. I mean, it's super simple. You've got your signature component and everything in it, so it makes it really nice. Another thing I see is how they splice and dice. You can go in and really look at your accounts receivable and really put some parameters on it to break it into quadrants of, low risk, high risk, what the collection buckets look like, where we should focus our time, what we should get rid of, so that I'm not having to do that. I can spit it in and maybe get some different insights that I hadn't even contemplated before. So those are just super basic stuff anybody can do. And then where I see it going is being able, I've seen like one company, I got to see their preview of and it freaked me out because it sounded just like me. And I'm like, oh my God, you've cloned me. This is kind of cool and kind of like next level creepy. The program got to know you from interacting with it, and then it would answer calls with your tone inflections and your voice. I'm like, geez, all it needs is some hand gestures and I'm out of a job. But, and so I freaked out on that at first, but after I got comfortable with it, it was handling stuff like, what's your address? Or, I have this deduction. Can you look at it? It was some very basic questions. And then it could be escalated. But I see where it can take some of those low level things, or, even sorting out your deductions. A lot of track builders send in their payments, then they look like a ransom note by the time you get them, because they're making all these deductions. They don't go by your invoice number, they're all PO driven. And that's something that AI can sort through and shoot back questions. I don't have to have a body sorting through there. So there's so many ways we can capitalize and use it. It's just getting people past the oh no moment where I'm going to be out of a job. It's like, well, somebody still has to tell the computer what to do. So there, you can't just have one person doing that. It's impossible.
Okay, so now I guess as for, some conclusions or parting shots, you know, what do you think the big takeaway people need to remember right now is, and where do you want to see all this going? The autonomous finance solutions, the agentic AI, where do you want to see this go, say a year from now, or say 5 years from now?
Well, I think what people need to understand is that the pendulum swings, it goes way far where we didn't have enough. And now, because everybody's so excited about it, and you've got so many people that are into it and creating things. And I think it's like once a week I get a call from a company going, will you look at this and give us your opinion? It's like, okay, there's a lot out there. So the pendulum went from here to way over here. And I'd like to see it come back to a level set where there's fear, AI is bad, or oh my God, AI is the greatest thing ever, where it's more, hey, here's where the good connections are, here's where the collaboration is, and here's how we could really utilize it to the best of its ability to complement what we're doing here at the office. And that's what I'd like to see more collaboratively. And I just don't think the pendulum's coming back just
We'll
yet. I
come
think
back
it's
and
gone.
talk about it
And I
next
could be
year and
dead wrong. So,
take
that's
inventory.
just my take on it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're in heavy demand, especially it's spring travel season, so I know you have lots of speaking engagements and whatnot. And thank you all for joining us at home or on your commute or wherever you listen to your podcasts or watch them. We appreciate you taking time out to continue this discussion with the Emagia AI for Finance podcast. We'll be back again in a couple weeks with some more brand new content, and we look forward to you joining us. So thank you and have a great day.
Thanks for having me.